What I remember about the rise of the Empire is how quiet it was. During the waning hours of the Clone Wars, the 501st Legion was discreetly transferred back to Coruscant. It was a silent trip. We all knew what was about to happen, what we're about to do. Did we have any doubts? Any private traitorous thought? Perhaps, but no one said a word. Not on the flight to Coruscant, not when Order 66 came down, and not when we marched into the Jedi Temple. Not a word.
What is up, guys? Donkey97 here, bringing you a brand new Halo custom map review. Today we're taking a look at an update for my Halo Reach infection map, Operation Knightfall, which is accompanied by the game type of Anakin's Betrayal, both of which are currently available on my file share. This is a map I created in 2018 on the Xbox 360 version of Halo Reach, and then later brought over to MCC's Halo Reach. And because of the custom game browser releasing last week, I thought it'd be really cool to go in and make some modifications to this map to make more aesthetical changes to it, and to change the game type settings ever so slightly to make the map a little bit more enjoyable on both ends. As on the original version, it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing on the exterior and in the main central hallway. Plus, there were some new blocks added to MCC Reach that I thought it'd be cool to take advantage of, such as the Pelican, which is right behind me. Now, you do see this flickering that just occurred a few seconds ago. That is because I actually hit the hard limit of blocks that can be placed in MCC Reach's forge. Partially because of, in this hallway right here, I was finally able to make the columns that line the hallway go all the way up to the ceiling and not just be the cover pieces, one layer tall, but about 2 Spartans high. Which I'm kind of happy that I was able to go in and make this change, because I think the new columns I made here look beautiful and kind of capture that aesthetic of the original Battlefront 2's columns in this central hallway on the multiplayer map Coruscant and the campaign level of Knightfall, hence the name for this custom game, Operation Knightfall. That was the main aesthetical change I did, but it was also the exterior. I tried to start recreating the Jedi Temple exterior to the map. Unfortunately, because I hit that hard limit, I wasn't able to make the full Jedi Temple exterior. So pretty much I had to say, okay, I just took a section out of the Jedi Temple, and that's what you're seeing on the exterior, which it works, and it still makes the map, I think, in my opinion, look beautiful when you look at it from the outside. It doesn't look rough, where the original version from 2018, which you still see sometimes in the custom browser, going by the name of March on the Jedi Temple, it looks a little bit rough when you get to these outdoor sections. Another aesthetic piece I added was those monitors back in that room. And I think they worked really well, as they were a new block added to Reach's Forge palette on MCC as well, and they work wonders, as they were pretty much, I think, only on Sword Base back in the Xbox 360 version of Reach, but you couldn't even place them. They were just a preset block already in Sword Base. Now, this room right here, I wanted to line it completely with monitors. If you don't know what this room is, that's actually supposed to be the room in Revenge of the Sith where Obi-Wan deactivates the beacon, telling all Jedi to come back to the temple, the war's over, and instead he puts the beacon warning that says, stay away from the temple, and then the whole holocron that you hear from Rebels and in the holocron that you could get at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, etc. So I think that was a really cool that the Battlefront 2 map actually uses that room as well. I tried to recreate the Battlefront 2 map as much as I could. There's a slight proportion issue in some areas because of the difference in Halo Reach's proportions to Star Wars Battlefront 2's proportions, but I tried to make it work as much the proportions of Halo Reach as possible. Right here you can see we started off as Anakin, and there's 3 different paths Anakin can choose from at the start. He can rush down the center into the center atrium, which would then branch off to all the different rooms. He could take that pathway to the left, which for the longest time I didn't even know existed on the map. When I was a kid, I was shocked to find that out, that map that existed there, and then I forgot about it until I was actually recreating this map in Halo Reach back in 2018. And then there's this third path he could take where he could just start to the right and would end up in this room, and then finally eventually make his way back over to the Jedi spawn room. Now, we should talk about some of the game type settings that are notable for this game type in the map. First of all, because we're playing as Anakin right now, we'll talk about the Anakin exclusive settings. First off, Anakin has a 2x overshield, he has a 300 times resistance, but it doesn't make him invincible. Anakin can be killed by assassination or just by overwhelmed by the number of Jedi that are hitting him at one time, and Anakin also has unlimited sprint. The next thing is Anakin does not have a motion tracker, but like I said earlier, Anakin has that 2 times overshield and the 300 times resistance. Anakin's shields, though, recharge slower than the Jedi's do. So that is one thing to be of note. Next up, we will talk about the shared traits between Anakin and the Jedi. And those are the damage, the meleeing, and the movement stuff. So first off, Anakin and Jedi will do the normal damage that they would normally do as if you're just playing as a normal Spartan in either Slayer or, a normal Survivor in Infection. Next up, they have both a 200% damage for their meleeing. And that's because they have a sword, and obviously I wanted to make sure the swords would always be a one-hit kill, and, if they used the sword slash, etc., I just wanted to make sure that would never fail. So they have a 200 times melee for both the Jedi and Anakin. Next up on the movement side, both Anakin and the Jedi have a 120% speed, and they have a 150% jump height. Now, in my original game type settings, the Jedi and Anakin both had only 125% jump height. I decided to bump it up to 150 to make it so all these jumps where it involves 2 people didn't need a second person now to do it, because I thought it'd be cool to have some areas like this little spot right here where you could get the drop on Anakin. There's one also in the Jedi starting room, and there's a third one that I haven't really shown in this map. It's not really a jump area, it's just more of a little corner you can hide in and not be seen as much. So those are the settings for Anakin and the Jedi that are most notable. And also, obviously, you can see in the bottom left corner, there's no motion tracker for the Jedi either, and that was a way to balance Anakin and the Jedi out. Next up, though, is the clone troopers, which is probably my favorite part to talk about, and that is the ones that had the most change from the original game type I had for this map. Now, initially, the clone troopers had a damage of just 100%, and eventually I started to realize it was kind of overpowered and the rounds were ending way too soon because the clones had a damage of 100%, and when they would use swarm tactics, it would just make it really easy for the clones to kill all the Jedi around them. So what I did was I actually lowered the clones' damage to 75%, but also, this is on a side note, you can also use 95 or 90% if you feel like it. I feel like 90% in smaller lobbies works well, but for larger lobbies, like a 16-player lobby, the 75% damage works a lot better, so the clones aren't so overpowered. Up next is we reduced the meleeing damage for the clones from 100% to 50%, and that was so the clones couldn't just start melee killing Jedi, because it kind of did get broken when if a clone was able to block a sword lunge, they could then quickly just melee the Jedi and kill them while they were trying to then redo the melee with the sword. So that kind of balanced it out. Originally in my head, I thought it'd be cool to have clones do a 100% melee to kind of resemble when the clone punches the one battle droid in the Clone Wars movie. I thought it'd be cool to have a clone just go up and punch a Jedi. And then we started to see over time in my friend group how that could kind of be abused and broken, so we reduced the melee damage for the clones. And then finally, the clones have a just default Spartan jump height and default Spartan speed of 100%, which is, again, default for the survivors while in infection. So those are pretty much the most notable settings. Obviously, though, also clones have a motion tracker, which allows them to get the jump on Jedi. But even though you can get the jump on the Jedi using your motion tracker, it's going to be very difficult for a single clone to take out a Jedi by themselves unless the Jedi is getting caught on different things, like maybe some of the fallen rocks in the center atrium or one of the decorative pieces in the central hallway, or if the Jedi is at a far distance from the clone. But if the Jedi is close range to the clone and the clone is by themselves, most likely that clone is going to end up dying. So it is very encouraged to swarm Jedi as a group. Heck, get your entire squad of clones, depending on how many people have been killed by Anakin. If you have 8 of you, all 8 of you go around in one group and just start eliminating every Jedi you see one by one. Obviously, Jedi can easily still pick off clones in groups. I've seen it where there's been kill-taculars before while playing this. Heck, I even got one in a different game that I wasn't recording. So it's definitely possible to get a multi-kill on clones that are all grouped up, but most likely the clones are going to take you down very quickly after that because your shields are going to be depleted very quickly, especially if some of them are using the plasma rifle while the others using the plasma repeater. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The map and Gametype are both available on my file share. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Good soldiers follow orders.